Well, we are ending this tour in the
Karloff Lugosi Memorial Room. I saw Bela wearing that Dracula cape in 1932 on the stage, and it wound up in his infamous film Plan 9 from Outer Space.
which was his.
It was his next to final film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in my guest book there, he wrote one word: amazed. I have a coffin table here. There's room for one more.
Wait a minute. This is a real coffin.
It really is.
Oh gosh. Now, you really. Did any of this ever scare you once you realized?
No, the only thing that scares me is the IRS.
And what's going to happen to all this stuff?
Well, I wish I knew. You know, 25 years ago, I was seen on television shaking hands with Mayor Tom Bradley, and I said, I'll open the front door, you can come empty out the whole house, you can have it free. But 5 years went by, and he got Dear John letters from Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. They said, yes, we're acquainted with Mr. Ackerman. He's a fine man. We'll vote for him for mayor. But they weren't about to create a museum, so I gave up. And frankly, if I were a vegetarian, I could have survived on the giant carrots that have been dangled in front of my nose for the next quarter of a century. Over in Berlin, they were going to buy a $42 million hotel and empty it out and fill it up with my movie material. But when the Berlin Wall went down, the economy went down. So I don't know that.
So it's just staying here in your house.
Well, eventually.
Because this is a world-class collection.
Well, when I go to that great sci-fi convention in the sky someday, I guess it'll all be left behind for posterity.
Well, I was fixing to say if anybody could take it with him, it'd probably be you. But you'd have to have a box bigger than that one to take it all with you, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Well, let's say goodbye.
Okay.
This has been wonderful. I had no idea really what I was getting into. I have heard about you for years. You are a living legend.
Well.
And this has certainly been no disappointment. You take private tours of people through here?
Every Saturday that I'm here since 1951, I've had 50,000 fans have visited me. They come from Transylvania and as far away as Tibet.
You told us that one, but I tell you, when we put the address and the telephone number and all that on the...
Quite well.
You better be ready, because our viewers are going to come over here and really give you the... And they're not going to stay just 30 minutes.
Oh. Okay, they'll be welcome.
All right, we're saying goodbye, and I think it's appropriate that we have this portrait.
Yes, of Boris Karloff.
Who had to be, I guess, the greatest or one of the greatest of all time.
With Lon Chaney Sr. in the silent days, and I think Boris Karloff was starting off with Frankenstein. He really carved a career as a monster. When you took off the face of the monster, there was Santa Claus. He was just this wonderful human being that you could hope to meet, along with Vincent Price and Peter Cushing. There was a film called The Unholy Three, and that trio was the Holy Three.
Wow. What a wonderful life you have had, and isn't it wonderful that you've spent your whole life doing something that you have a passion for?
Yes, well, the end is not yet. I hope to be the George Burns of science fiction, and 16 years from now celebrate my 100th birthday.
And we'll be here with you to help you celebrate.
Okay.
Mr. Forrest Ackerman, the undisputed king of science fiction. He invented the word, came up with the word sci-fi back in 1954, and you have a collection here in Los Feliz that is unequaled anywhere in the world. Thank you so much for sharing your home and your collection, your pictures, your books, your masks, your models with all of us today. It has been a real pleasure.
My pleasure too, and as I say, room for one more.
Visiting with Huell Howser is made possible through a generous grant from the Ralph M. Parsons Foundation.